worldwide authority on cigars. Welcome to Cigar Emperor.
Hey guys, Matthew here from Cigar Emperor, and we are with our lovely cigar ambassadress, Cigar Empress, Kim.
Hello.
Instagram #SexyCigar. And Kim's been great. She's been posting lots of pictures of herself smoking and getting lots of followers and lots of likes. You should definitely follow her on Instagram. But Kim, thank you for your time today. It's always a pleasure to catch up with you and have a cigar. And I think a lot of people would like to know, they might be curious because women don't usually smoke cigars. I mean, I know that's changing, and maybe some people might think like, oh, she's just smoking a cigar because she just is posing or she just wants attention. But I know that you're not, and that's why, Kim is with us as our ambassador, because she does actually enjoy smoking cigars. And maybe you can
very much.
Yeah, maybe you can tell the audience, how did you get into cigars? What piqued your interest? Why did you start smoking, and why you continue to smoke?
Well, I guess I started smoking cigars. Actually, in the beginning, I did do it a little bit for the image, because I feel that a woman smoking a cigar is a very powerful image and a very strong image. And the other thing is because I don't consume alcohol, I don't drink. So often when you go out to a bar with a couple of friends, I'm not having anything alcoholic or I'm not having a drink, people feel a bit strange drinking around me, or they feel like I'm not having fun. So when I have a cigar in my hand and I'm smoking a cigar, it kind of feels that I'm part of the group in a way. Like, I'm not having a drink, but I'm having a cigar and
Enjoying something else.
yeah, I'm enjoying something else,
Yeah.
And I've never enjoyed cigarettes. I've never really enjoyed smoking anything else. So I guess this is truly my vice.
So what attracted you to the cigars? Was it the aroma? Was it the image? What was it that attracted you to be like, okay, maybe I don't like cigarette smoke, like a lot of people don't like that smoke. I never did either. So yeah, maybe what was it that attracted you to the cigar lifestyle?
Well, first of all, you see, straight off the bat, the smoke from a cigar smells very different from the smoke of a cigarette, and that was what I found really, it was really attractive. The smell of a cigar on a man, for example, is a lot more attractive than the smell of a cigarette on a man, and that was what drew me in at first.
So guys, did you hear that? She said the smell of cigar smoke on a man is more attractive than the smell of cigarette smoke on a man. So there you go, some of the tips for you guys out there. So you never felt like it was stinky or anything like that?
No, not at all. I mean, depending on, and the smell differs as well depending on what cigar you smoke. So
would you then judge a man when you smell him and go, he's smoking a nice cigar? Okay. He's smoking a cheap cigar? No date for him. Maybe. So guys, it's important what kind of cigars you guys choose to smoke. Okay, continue please.
Yeah, so and also I find tasting cigars a lot like tasting wine, and because I'm allergic to alcohol and I don't consume alcohol, I lose out a lot on that. I think I'm a very sensory person. I like cooking, I like tasting, I like different smells and things like that. So cigars actually help me to enjoy that on the same level as somebody who enjoys tasting wine. So I love the different flavors of a cigar, how different types of cigars have different flavors, different draw, different experiences. So that's what really, really drew me into cigar culture. And I also really love the ritual of prepping a cigar, like toasting the cigar,
Yeah, I like that
cutting
too.
a cigar,
Yeah.
lighting a cigar.
Yeah.
The sort of finesse that you put into it, that is what really draws
You
me.
enjoy the experience.
Yes, very much.
And I think that's why a lot of us continue to smoke these days, because we actually enjoy the experience.
Yes.
And it's not just for the sake of smoking. It's everything, all combined together. Now, you've been quite popular on Instagram with your profile. Have you gotten any interesting messages from people, and what have people asked you? And PG-13, but I mean, what you can share that have they asked you for tips? Do they ask you what to smoke? Do they ask you like what do the fans or the people who follow you on Instagram on your cigar page, what do they ask you?
Yeah, well, actually, I started an Instagram page just as a personal diary at first. I used it as a log to keep track of what I smoked, and a log to keep track of what I enjoyed smoking and what I didn't enjoy smoking. And I didn't expect it to become as popular as it is. So I get a lot of questions about how is this cigar smoked? Have you tried this? Have you tried that? And I get a lot of questions about a particular cigar.
Yeah, people actually DM you?
Yeah, they do. They DM me or they write it down in the comments.
In the comments, yeah.
And of course, I get the odd pervert. I get the odd, you're so sexy, can you do a custom sexy video of you smoking a cigar? Which the answer is no.
No, guys.
No, guys. But I get a lot of requests about, hey, can you review this cigar, or have you smoked this other cigar, and can you give us your opinions? And I also sometimes get questions about, what type of cutter do you use, and stuff like that. So
Actually, it's very interesting. When I was in the Dominican Republic recently, we were touring the Davidoff factory, and there were a lot of women, typically in cigar factories in Cuba, in Dominican Republic, Honduras, Nicaragua. The rollers are men and women, but the ones who sort the tobacco leaves by color and by feel are all women. And one of the guys, the Canadian guys, they were like, well, are you guys being sexist? Why don't men do this job too? Are you guys kind of suppressing women? And the factory manager said, actually, no, we're not. It's because women have more more sensitive, in terms of color selection, like because there's different shades of brown, and also with the tactile feel of the fingertips, So it's actually I think it's great that more women smoke cigars because they are more intuitive, they have more feelings, their sensory senses are much more activated than males. Okay. It's different, and they would be able to tell different kind of things which men can't. Right. So that's why a lot of women...
That's interesting.
Yeah, so that was something that I learned too, which I thought was very interesting, because, when you look at a cigar factory, you might think that, it's the lower paying jobs and that's why the woman is doing it. Actually, it's not true. They're there because they have that skill which men don't have.
Right.
So in this case, women are better, So I think it's great that more women actually smoke, because then they can give a different kind of idea to the kind of tastes and how the cigars are, a different perspective than it kind of being, even though it is still very much male dominated in that sense. But I don't know if you can agree with me or what your views are. There are more women smokers these days.
Yes, I think that for a very long time it was a stereotype that it was disgusting for women to smoke, and occasionally actually I do get very inflammatory messages saying that, that's not sexy, that's completely disgusting, or you're going to give yourself cancer, or some really inflammatory message like that on my Facebook or my Instagram. But also, more and more women are enjoying cigars, and it's becoming more mainstream as well. So it used to be something that was only very male dominated, I guess. And I guess the stereotype is that women smoke the little cigarillos, which I also feel a lot of women are challenging that stereotype. And
more women now are smoking bigger engaged cigars.
Yeah. And more women are smoking more openly. It's not seen as disgusting, or it's not seen as,
Well, I think
as
I do know a lot of guys who think that women who smoke cigars are sexy.
Yeah, and I think also a lot of it is the way you smoke. I mean, you're not, you don't, obviously you want to smoke a cigar in a very refined manner, in a ladylike manner.
Exactly.
You don't want to sit like a big tough bloke smoking a
stogie.
Yeah. You want to, look refined, and you want
feminine.
to look beautiful smoking a cigar.
Yes. And you can look beautiful.
You can.
Again, it depends on how you hold it and how you smoke it. Okay. Well, we don't want to keep on going on, but I think I'd like to end this interview session with a sexy cigar with Kim. Maybe you actually did watch that masterclass.
I did.
And
Yes.
I think the audience and the viewers would be interested to also understand, because they're also learning, as we are always learning. It's a continual journey. Maybe we can go through some of those steps, and you can share.
Yeah.
Your experience to say when we follow what Travis was talking about in the previous video. So maybe take us through those steps. Maybe we inhale a bunch of smoke, right? And she's gonna kind of gargle it in her mouth, right? And then she's gonna slowly pout it out, right?
And that's two puffs.
Two puffs, right? Two puffs, yeah. Two puffs.
And then one,
and then in the mouth. Right, she's gonna puff it in her cheeks to get that smoke lining in all of her mouth and all around. She's gonna slowly push it out, pouting out through her mouth, kind of like when you sip that wine, you gurgle it like that. She's pushing it out like that, okay? Right, and then she's gonna lick the roof of her mouth, and also the front part of her teeth, the lips, right? And then she's gonna finish off by inhaling a bunch of oxygen to open up the bouquet. Now, tell them, when you do that, what kind of flavors, or what's the difference than just by doing
Yeah.
What's the difference?
Well, the main difference you get, actually the biggest difference I get is, when you puff your cheeks out and gargle the smoke, and you make sure it fills all of your mouth, it goes under your tongue, everything, you're really taking the time to savor the smoke and really take time to enjoy these flavors.
Cigars should never be rushed.
Yeah. And the other thing that's very, very pronounced is that when you rub your tongue on the top of your mouth, on your palate, that's actually, it wakes up a lot of other different flavors as well. And I was really pleasantly surprised because I've never
You never knew about that, right?
It's never occurred to me to do that. And so with the first 2 puffs I've had, you get, very, very, the regular flavors of cedar and but when I rubbed my tongue on the top of my mouth, immediately I had this like cocoa chocolatey flavor that just
All those
came out of
flavors were
nowhere.
like unlocked.
Yeah,
Actually, they're always there. It's just that
you just don't
you didn't pay
really-
attention to it. Yeah,
that's right.
yeah.
Yeah, so that was a really good tip, and also the inhaling the fresh air, the oxygen again to awaken the senses. And I think also it works to kind of cleanse. I felt that it's more like it cleanses the palate a little bit.
Okay.
So for me, instead of awakening more flavors, I felt like it cleanses the palate for the next puff, and so you can keep tasting with a fresh palate. Like what
Okay,
else?
let's finish off by doing the same thing, okay?
Yeah.
But with your eyes closed, and
Okay.
then tell me if there's any difference. Okay, so I'll just talk while you do
Okay.
it. So you close your
Alright.
eyes, okay? So she's gonna take a puff, and she's closing her eyes because if you watch the other video, right, we are using our eyes to focus and look at so many things. By closing off the eyes, we are more intuitive and more concentrated on our taste senses because she's not using her vision to look at things because our brain can only handle so much. So now she's gonna do the same thing that she's doing with her eyes closed so that she can focus more on the taste and block off the visual stimulation which is happening with her eyes. So let's just give her a couple of seconds to finish off the ritual, and let's see what she says and what flavors she can get by blocking off that visual sense and just concentrating more on the taste sense. Okay, that's that inhalation of air. All right. So what did you? So how was that different for you by closing your eyes?
Well, when you close your eyes, because you're blocking out every other sense, your sense of smell and taste becomes somewhat heightened,
More
and you're
highlighted.
you're kind of forced to really focus on the smell.
Yeah,
of
because you
the-
can't see anything.
Yeah,
Close your
yeah,
eyes.
Yeah. So I mean, it's different, but also it really helped me to highlight what I was tasting, and it also really forced me to take my time.
There you go.
So sometimes, and I think we sometimes forget that because we're talking and we're sometimes focusing on a conversation and not on the cigar.
You've smoked the cigar and it's like, oh, I'm halfway and what have I smoked, right?
Yeah, so it was like just I had to touch up my cigar because we were talking and I
Yeah.
wasn't puffing and it's gone a bit, so
Yeah.
so but when you close your eyes, you're shutting out conversation, you're not talking to anyone, you're just focusing on the moment, on the cigar, on the flavors, and that's where you pick up notes like, oh wow, this I never got that note, I never realized that it had that cinnamon taste, I didn't pick up the cedar, I didn't pick up
whatever.
So yeah, it's definitely
Fantastic.
worth taking your time.
Take
and
your
doing
time.
that.
Never rush the hands of time. Carlos Fuente. Anyway, guys, it's been a pleasure. Kim, we'll be seeing a lot more of her. And you
Thank
guys enjoy
you.
yourself. Take your time.
Bye.